All right, so lesson 7. Before we hit the weekend, we're going to do just a little bit of a trigonometry review. Trigonometry, we're talking about triangles. And most specifically, we're talking about right angle triangles. Okay, so we've got that right angle triangle there. Alrighty, so let's review the properties of right angle triangles. First, all angles in a triangle, this is any triangle, are going to add up to 180 degrees. All the triangles with a 90-degree angle are called right triangles. And the opposite side of the 90-degree angle is called the hypotenuse. So when we have our right angle triangle, we have our 90 degrees there. This side here is my hypotenuse. Okay, now we're going to review the Pythagorean Theorem. Pythagorean Theorem, we've done it for years. It's what we use to find missing sides. And it's basically a squared plus b squared equals c squared. And c is always the hypotenuse, and a and b can be the other two sides. Now, if we're looking for one of those sides, I'm going to do that rearranging for you. If I'm looking for c, what we do is we take the square root of a squared plus b squared. If we're looking for a, we take the square root of c squared minus b squared. And if we're looking for b, we take the square root of c squared minus a squared. Okay, c is the big side, so when we're looking for a or b, c is always in front. You subtract from it. Okay, so those are the versions of the formula that you'll use. Now remember, you've got to add it all together first before you take the square root. So it's important to kind of take your time with that and do your steps. Okay, so let's take a look. Let's practice and let's find the unknown sign for each of the following triangles. So we're going to use the Pythagorean Theorem. So in the first one, we want to find the unknown side. We're looking for the hypotenuse. We're looking for c. So we'll just label these. We'll call this a. We'll call this b. So a equals 16, b equals 12, and we're looking for c. So we can use the formula as written, or we can use our rearranged formula that we were given up here. So c is equal to the square root of a squared plus b squared. So we just substitute that in and solve. So a squared is going to be 16 squared plus b squared is 12 squared. So c is equal to the square root of 16 squared is 256 plus 12 squared, which is 144. So it's the square root of 256 plus 144 is 400. And the square root of 400 is equal to 20. Okay, so that's my answer. C is equal to 20. It's as simple as that. Okay, so let's try another one using those rearranged formulas. Here, I know the hypotenuse, it's c, but I'm looking for a or b, so I can call this one a and this one b. Doesn't matter. I'll tell you right now, a or b, you can switch those, and it's still going to give you the same answer. Okay, so based on this, a equals 5 centimeters, b we're looking for, and c equals 13 centimeters. Okay, so we're looking for b. So if we look up at the formula that we have, b is equal to the square root of c squared minus a squared. So let's substitute in and find that. So c squared is 13 squared, a squared minus a squared is 5 squared. Let's find out what each of those are. 13 squared is 169, minus 5 squared is 25. So b is equal to the square root of 169 minus 25 is 144. So b is equal to, if I take the square root of 144, I get 12. And I look at my original thing for units, it'll be centimeters. Now in the first one there were no units, so I just give the number. Okay, so here's some tips. If you're finding the hypotenuse, you're going to add under the root. And if you're finding one that is not the hypotenuse, you're going to subtract. And you always subtract the big minus the small. Okay? So that is a bit of review of Pythagorean Theorem. Okay? So it should look familiar. You've been seeing that since probably grade 8. We come back to it every single year in math. It's so important. So you're going to do a little Pythagorean practice, and then on Monday we'll come and we'll do some more stuff with trig.